Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome to my video. So I believe this is our first time meet face to face, just you and me. So I'm going to do a quick introduction here. So my name is Ilyas Emil Hayat. You can call me by Mr. or Pak Emil, or Mr. or Pak Ilyasa, it's up to you. So I was born on October 12th, 1999, and now I live with my grandma. So if you have a further thing to ask, or if you want to ask me something, my contact person is right down below in the description. There's my number, my email, so don't be shy, contact me. Okay, so now we are going to learn about passive voice, what passive voice look like, why passive voice important, and how we're going to form a passive voice. So first question, why we should use passive voice? First is, maybe you don't want to say the subject did the action, or the subject is unknown, or the action is more important than the subject. Sometimes you want to avoid being responsible for something you do, or you want to cover your friends because they did something bad. I know it's bad, but you just want to cover for them. Okay, so passive voice is used to change the focus of your sentence, karena aksinya itu lebih penting. The action is more interesting or more important than the subject. Remember that. So before we're going to furthermore into passive voice, you actually need to understand a little bit of active voice, and I believe you already know what is active voice is. So this is the example of active voice. So simple, right? This is a simple form: subject, verb, and object. The children ate the apple. So imagine, or bayangkan, imagine you have an apple, and then you put that apple in your desk. You go back to your kitchen. And take a cup of tea, for example, and you go back to your desk, and the apple is gone. So this is where you use passive voice. The apple was eaten. That's it. Because your apple is gone. Apelnya hilang, kemana? Siapa yang memakannya? So the apple was eaten. You don't know who ate them. Kalian gak tahu siapa yang makan apel kalian, ya kan? Tidak tahu siapa. Jadi kita menggunakan passive voice. So we use passive voice to express that. The apple was eaten by someone. That is a passive voice. So here's another example, okay? Hundreds of tourists visit Pembelajaran beach every year. Karena tadi passive voice itu aksinya atau objeknya yang lebih penting, that more interesting daripada subjeknya. So it's not about the visitor, it's not about the tourist, it's about the Pembelajaran beach. So Pembelajaran beach is visited by hundreds of tourists because Pembelajaran beach is more important or more interesting. And there's a lot of obvious example of passive voice, the use of passive voice. For example, in my own introduction, there is a passive voice there. So the passive voice was, I was born on October 12th, 1999. that was a passive voice, believe it or not. Because if we say in active voice, it will be like this. My mother bore me on October 12th, 1999. And that is taking too long, and it's not right. It's not like, my mother is really obvious. It's not like my father bore me or gave birth to me. It's obviously my mother. So I was born on October 12th, 1999 by my mother. But my mother is not really used because it's obviously my mother gave birth to me, not my father, because it's impossible. And another lots of example of passive voice is like Dylan 1990. You know that movie? It's based on novel, right? So Dylan 1990 was written by P.D. Baik. That was passive voice. Another example, Gundala. You know Gundala? Gundala was directed by Joko Anwar. Another example, this video was watched by Seman 1 Tasikmalaya students, and that's a fact. So if you take a look at this example, you kind of see the pattern here. So be with past participle, and that is the form. If you saw the sentence that had be and past participle, that is passive voice. So how we're going to form a passive voice? It's easy. It took 5 steps to do that. Are you ready? Of course you're ready. So take a look at this example. This is an active voice. The children ate the apple. Okay, remember that. So first step is identify the subject, verb, and object at the active voice. Subject, verb, and object, remember. After that, step 2, swap or move object to subject, subject to object. So swap the object at active voice to subject at passive voice. So that's the thing. The object at passive voice, the active voice, will become a subject in passive voice, and the subject at active voice will become an object at passive voice. Remember that, okay? Step 3, conjugate. Conjugate the be into the action verbs. What I mean is, kita harus melihat dulu action verbnya. Kita tahu action verbnya adalah ate, because the children ate the apple. Verbnya adalah ate. Kita lihat, ate itu berada di verb keberapa? Kita lihat di tabel ini. Ate berada di tabel kedua. Jadi be-nya menggunakan was or were. Jadi gimana penggunaan was or were-nya? Jadi kalau misalnya kita lihat di sini, kan kita udah mendapatkan di passive voice-nya the apple. The apple sebagai subjek. The apple itu berarti 1. Kalau 1 tunggal berarti menggunakan was. Kalau 1 menggunakan was. Kalau misalnya the apples atau banyak apelnya menggunakan were. Jadi karena ini cuma di apple berarti menggunakannya was. Jadi kita udah dapat tuh. The apple was. Lanjut ke step 4. Change the action verb into verb 3. Jadi kita bisa lihat the verb in active voice is ate. Ate itu verb kedua. Verb ketiganya apa? Eaten. Jadi kita ubah tuh ate jadi eaten. Lalu masukkan the apple was eaten. Nah, udah dapet tuh sampai situ. Sebenarnya sampai situ juga udah selesai. Itu adalah suatu bentuk passive voice. The apple was eaten. Remember, the subjects not always have to be included. Remember that. Because in the active voice is already included, the children. So step 5 is add the subject. So it's up to you either whether if you want to add it or not. So if you add it, it become the apple was eaten by the children. If you don't include that, it only become the apples was eaten. That's it. Are you understand? Do you understand? Pasti understand lah ya. Pastilah. Saya percaya bahwa kalian pasti benar-benar pahamin. Soalnya gampang. So here are more example of passive voice. My pen was stolen. The package will be received by weekend. The washing had been left out in rain. If you notice, the be verb is always there, but it also tells us the tense, so it tells us when this is happened, and also it's conjugate with the subject. For example, were and was. But also the be verb is followed by the past participle. So that is the main passive voice form. Understood? Okay, so let's do another exercise, but together, you and me. Got it? Okay, here's the active voice. We made a cake for Nanda's birthday. Remember the 5 steps? First, identify the subject, verb, and object. Second, swap or move the object into subject, the subject into object. Third, conjugate the be verb with the active verb. Remember that? Okay. Step 4. Change the verb into verb 3. I mean the active verb into verb 3. Got it? Okay. And last step, add a subject. Do you got it? So, we made a cake for Nanda's birthday. It become a cake was made by us for Nanda's birthday. Do you got it? Do you got it correctly? Good. So, I think that's enough for today's lessons. There's still a lot to learn, like how to change negative into passive voice, or even affirmative into passive voice. But I think that's enough for this lesson. So I hope you already got it, you already understand it. Thank you for listening. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.